Hey everybody, it's Christopher Nejman back again for some demonstrations, more demonstrations with the Singer heavy duty sewing machine. This is my 5554 model. Now, in my last video I said once you understand the basics of the machine, we can get creative. So let's get creative. Let's do some heirloom sewing. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to talk about setup. Now, we're going to do some heirloom sewing. And for all of you who may wonder, heirloom sewing on this Singer Heavy Duty with limited stitches, hey, we're going to make it work. Now, I want to go over something in your instruction manual. In your instruction manual, it shows you, I'm just going to prop this up here for you. It shows you A, B, C, D, E, F, G on regular black setting or gray setting. Because you have a gray, you have a blue, and you have a red. The blackish gray color is your standard setting. Then if you switch it to like see, there's the standard right there in the black. The S1 and S2 stands for stretch stitch 1, stretch stitch 2. So each selection on this dial gives you 3 different stitch choices. Okay? That's all you need to know. But when they did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they never really labeled it on the dial. So for newbies, that's going to be a little difficult to figure out. But at least you can see a picture of what each stitch will look like. For instance, the C, look at the letters, the alphabet letter C. In the gray black, that's what it's going to look like. In the S1, which is the blue, that's what it'll look like. And then in the S2 and the C, that's what it'll look like. So I hope that makes a little more sense to you all. So we're going to work with, we're actually going to work with C today. I'm going to work with C to start with. Now, what do we need? Well, traditionally when you do heirloom sewing, you're going to use a lightweight cotton thread, or you can even use a poly cotton thread. You know, traditionally though, you're supposed to use cotton. Then Aerofill makes a nice construction lightweight thread. You can also use bobbin fill thread. This is the finishing touch. We definitely want to use bobbin thread for embroidery for your bobbin. And then Madeira makes a nice one, also bobbin fill. Okay. And you can see that the finishing touch is 60 weight. This one doesn't tell you what weight is on here. It doesn't say what weight. Don't you love when companies make you have to guess what it is? Anyway, so I've got a bobbin filled with bobbin thread for embroidery. And then we're going to use a hem stitch needle, or otherwise known as a wing needle. You can see how wide that needle is. Okay? That's going to go in. Schmetz also makes one. And the one I have in the machine right now is a Schmetz. Size 16 is the wing needle size. And then for my thread on top, I'm using Sulky sliver thread. Yes, the sliver thread. This is the opal color. That's that metallic thread that's really, really difficult to use, most people find. Now, do not use the automatic needle threader when you go and use a wing needle. The hardest thing about what we're going to do today is having to thread that thread through that needle without a needle threader. That's a challenge. All right, now I want to show you a couple things here. This is a poly cotton fabric. Traditionally, you use all cotton or cotton batiste. See how flimsy that is? Your heirloom stitches will never hold up on this flimsy cotton. So you have to use starch. like a nun's habit. You gotta starch it up. And I use that starch in the blue bottle. That really works well. Now, under this video, I will post a link to my heirloom video that I did a while back, showing you more techniques and everything. So this is just to show you what you can do on this machine. Let's just say someone you know is going to have a baby, and they said, could you make the christening gown? Oh my God, you think to yourself, I don't have a machine with all those heirloom decorative stitches. But you could buy trims, and you could do a little bit of heirloom stitching with this machine. So, and if you want to jazz it up, you can use metallic thread like I'm going to do. Now, you probably normally wouldn't because you just used like the cotton threads, right? But since it's me, I'm going to jazz it up, and I'm going to show you the capability of this. So let's get going. Alright, so before I start stitching, let's go over the settings one more time. So I'm going to use this blue stitch here, which you can see it's set for the S1. The stitch width I'm going to do at a 4. Needle position is in the center. My tension is a 2. And there's the thread on a vertical spool pin. That's the sulky sliver thread. I'm using a standard foot, and you want to make sure that you have enough of the thread pulled out so it doesn't come out when you start sewing. Alright, so now let's get going. Alright, let's give this a shot. Let's see how nice this is going to turn out. So on this mechanical machine, I don't want to sew super fast, so I'm just sewing at like a halfway speed, medium speed. You can slow it down and do it a little slower if you're not comfortable with doing it a little faster. Okay, so now that was at 4.0, so I'm going to increase the width all the way up to 6. If I'm not sewing straight, it's because I keep looking at everything. I'm running the camera, trying to make sure everything's, and I'm not exactly centered in front of the machine because the camera's on my side. So now let's look at this. So here is the 4.0 width. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Can you see that? Look at that beautiful that is. That's gorgeous. And then down here is the 6.0 width. Now when you wash this, this will soften up, but you can see why you need the starch so the stitching doesn't collapse. Isn't that just cool? I mean, that is just like so awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a different stitch. So staying in the same grouping here, I'm going to switch to the red. So up here, I'm just going to switch to S2. Well, let's try that. And I think I'm going to keep the S2. I'll do it at 6.0 first. We'll start with that for the width. All right, let me give it a shot here, and here we go. Make sure with all the threads are under there. Remember, like I said, this is normally done with cotton thread, but I want to show how much more this machine can do. You know, I like to show people the capabilities of these machines. I mean, I actually do more and go further than the actual sewing machine companies do. because you gotta understand, sewing machine companies do not pay professional artists enough money to do their samples and everything like that. Artists like me out here teach other people, regular sewing people at home, how to do things, and I wanted to push the boundaries and show you what you're capable of. So, you know, you guys, you know, when you learn stuff like this, don't take it for granted, because you can create such beautiful, beautiful works of art with this. Okay, so that was 6.0. Now let's drop it down to a 4.0. All right, that's enough. And let's see what I got from this. So this was the feather stitch, and look how beautiful that is. Isn't that beautiful? And then down here is when I made it, took it to the 4.0 stitch width. Just absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can't beat that. Now think of that beautiful christening gown. Think of the beautiful decorative stitching here around the cuffs of your shirt. Beautiful shirt. So many, you know, when you make garments like this, you know, I mean, it's just all these little touches like this are phenomenal. When you look at this, you've got that metallic thread. How beautiful it shimmers, you know. So there's so much that you can do. The sky's the limit. So don't ever think that because you don't have the most expensive top-line sewing machine that you're not capable of doing anything, you know, because you have so much capability. And now I'm going to do one more different stitch here. And let's see, what do I want to do? There's an overcast stitch. Let's see here. Let me show you what this one is. Okay, so this is an overcast stitch, or otherwise known as a serger stitch. And you would normally do this on the edge of your fabric. But I'm going to try this stitch, and I'm going to do it at the 4.0 stitch width. Let's see what that does. Before I move forward, let me get a close-up here of what I was doing earlier. Look at that beautiful stitching. This is beautiful. So pretty. It's so pretty. The metallic thread. It's so hard to get in the camera to get that shine in the camera. There we go. Look at that shine in the camera. Look at that. Beautiful, right? Wow. The last time I did this, which I'll post a video below this video, I'll post a link for, this was done on my top of the line, a very top of the line expensive Baby Lock sewing machine. And you know, not to say that, well, there's a comparison. I mean, this is a basic heavy-duty mechanical machine. You have limited stitching. But if this is all you have, you can make things work and you can still get a beautiful look. With one of those top-line mechanical machines, you can have a lot more bells and whistles, and you'll have a lot more stitch choices to choose from. But don't ever think because you can't afford one of those machines you can't make anything beautiful, because here's your proof that you can. See that? All right. Let me start doing the stitching with this overcast stitch now. So let's put the fabric under here and let's start sewing. This is going to be beautiful. Now I'm going to stitch, I'm going to increase the stitch width to a 6.0. Alright, let's see that stitch. This one's really going to resemble an heirloom stitch. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. And then as it comes over here, see that? That's the wider part. Wow, that's gorgeous. There, look at that. Beautiful. Just beautiful. And there's the same stitch but wider. I like it more narrow. I like the more narrow look. So here's my thumbnail next to that. Or let's just put a pack of needles next to it so you can get a comparison in size. Wow! Can you imagine rows and rows of this on a shirt, or when you're making a christening gown, or what else can you make? I mean, think of all those traditional looking things you did before and just jazz it up now, make it more modern. Here's that feather stitch on the right. Make it more modern with metallic thread like this. You see? Gorgeous, right? So I would wash this in warm water, and then I would just either I'd put it on very low tumble dry, or hang it up to dry, and just put a press cloth when you iron. That's what I would do. I wouldn't put a direct iron on this if you have to iron when you iron this. So there it is, beautiful. Okay, so that's the Singer heavy duty machine. This is my 5554, so you're not limited. You've got capabilities. Try the other stitches, play around, see what looks you get. You know, try different metallic threads. Give your project a whole new look. Don't be afraid, everybody. Once you understand how to use a sewing machine and how to set it up, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. Take your time and practice. Okay, be safe, everyone. Wear your mask. Love you. Bye.